Welcome back, everyone. I'm coming at you with another update. I'm just going to come out and do a little bit of weeding. As you can see, the weeds are starting to come back. But give you a quick update on what's going on. Seminole pumpkins are starting to really come in nice. They're getting their big leaves. I love the leaves on the Seminole pumpkins with the white along the veins. I just think it looks really pretty. I came out the other day, it was Sunday evening, came out and I chopped down some more of these baby rain tree. You can see this one's pretty tall. It's a little taller than I need it, but that's okay. And I put them right next to the chayote, so hopefully it will grab on. If not, I'll have to tie it to it and then it'll go up. Because this one is starting to get the vine coming out, so it's time for that. And you can see over here, got some of my oldest daughter's sunflowers coming out. I'm pretty sure those are sunflowers. They might be pumpkin, but I thought we planted sunflower there. Let me get closer. I thought we planted sunflower here, but we'll find out. If it's pumpkin, that's fine. It wouldn't hurt my feelings if we had more pumpkin, so, but I'm pretty sure that those are sunflower because I don't see, looks a little bit different. But come along here, somewhere in here we planted carrots, but I don't see them. It's so hard to tell what's what with the weeds popping up. But and carrots don't really like to grow here for some reason. I don't have much luck. And then here are the English peas that she wanted to plant. There's some in here. There's another chayote. I put the rain tree next to it. This one is kind of, I don't know, it's not wanting to grow as fast as the others. Here's the other one. It's starting to get its vines. So that one may not make it, but we'll see what happens. Funny thing is, this center row here, I forgot to put any fertilizer down, like fertilizer and lime, and my soil needs the lime especially because it's acidic, but I forgot, and I had already planted like the chive and stuff like that. And I know you can kind of go in and cut it in, but I may or may not do that. This row, the third row is what I've designated it. The third row, I did put the fertilizer and lime in. And what I did for this one is I just bought a big bag of, I think it's Job's Organics, and it's their citrus fertilizer, but I was looking more at I don't really pay attention to what they say it's for. I look at the numbers, and it had numbers that I more wanted because it was very low in phosphorus, because I don't need any phosphorus in my soil. I need potassium and nitrogen as far as the big nutrients go. And I did the same thing over in this row. I used fertilizer and lime. I did not put lime down further that way because I had my fire pit there and there was a bunch of ash and charcoal left, and it just stayed in the ground, and so I didn't want to make it too alkaline, so I skipped down where the first bean teepee is. I skipped that. I didn't put any lime there. I just went down the rest of the row. So it's kind of an experiment to see how it goes. The middle row has no fertilizer, no lime. Of course, along the way I will be fertilizing it with liquid fertilizer, like I normally do, but it did not start off with fertilizer. So and the chayote's growing, the beans. That's one good thing about the snake beans is they aren't too picky about the soil. I mean, they'll do better with good soil, of course, but they'll still grow in poor soil conditions. But yeah, I got the blanket flower starting to put out a few blooms. You can see here I've come along and hoed. So what I'm going to do right now, and I'll try to show you a little bit what I need to do. I have my swage hoe here. I sharpened the other day some more. And this hoe I found is good for you coming along, and you see you've got weeds in here, coming along and just scraping the little guys, and it just takes care of them, you know. And I can get closer to the, you can get closer to the plants, which that's one of the perks about the swage hoe, as opposed to a garden hoe or a grub hoe or, you know, a grape hoe, anything like that. So, but this is more for stuff like this. Now, it does work better the more you sharpen it. And I just, you know, I have a file, and I just sat and sharpened it for a while, and I got it. It's sharper than it was. I don't know if it's as sharp as it should be, but it's a lot sharper than it was. I'm still getting the hang of that. But yeah, this is good for this right here. Just coming along, coming in here, getting these little guys. Now, for bigger spots, like I wanted to make that a walking path over there, but I'm not sure if I'm going to mulch it. I may just leave it like that and just keep hoeing it. See, what I've done here is I've hoed it back. Like the grass was growing in here, and I hoed it back. And that may be what I do. That's what I've done before with smaller beds that I've made. I just let the grass grow, and then I would either, some of it I would just cut it with my, I'd just take my pocket knife and trim it, and then mulch around the plants. Or I would do like this and hoe it back. But like this in here, this is the end of this second walking path that we haven't finished. I've got some more boxes. I need to put some cardboard down, and then we'll mulch it. But as you can see, the mulch, it still lets some of this weeds in. I'm probably going to end up having to go with some good weed cloth. But for this in here, I've found that this does not do enough. See, this grass is so hardy. Now I'm doing this one-handed, but still, the grass is so hardy and so thick, and the roots are so strong that it doesn't do very well to get this grass up. So I have to get my garden hoe and just hack it, which is what I did here and over there and along that side. I just go along and I hack at the edges and bust up that grass and just kind of scoop it back to keep it away from the rows. But that's it. That's pretty much it. I don't have much else going. You can see in here, these chives just always look sad to me, but I don't know. We'll see what they do. But see how right in here you got this sort of stuff. This is good for just knocking that down. So I use both. I'll bring my swage hoe out, and then I will bring my garden hoe out. There's my sprinkler. I need to get better sprinklers in here. Then I'll bring my garden hoe out here. I have a grub hoe, but I don't really like using the grub hoe unless I'm actually making a row or making a bed, because it's so heavy and so big that I feel like you can't use any, I guess for lack of better words, finesse with it. You can't get into these smaller areas with a grub. Well, you can, but it just, I don't know. I'd rather use just a regular garden hoe, because then I have a little bit more control over it. But a grub hoe is wonderful for making, like this row here, the second row and the first row. I used the grub hoe and made the row. I came in, I used the rototiller, which my rototiller struggled with this grass. I came in with my grub hoe and hoed the rows, the first and second row, and you know, it does a really good job because it's so heavy that it can really get into the ground. And then of course, as you saw in one of my other videos, I used my broad fork to get this row. Use the broad fork and the grub hoe, because I forked it with the broad fork and then I came back with the grub hoe and kind of hoed it under. But yeah, I'll just take my garden hoe and come along and get these edges in any of the thick grass, and like I said, just hoe it back away from the row. But yeah, that's about it. I'm gonna have to pretty soon. I'm gonna have more teepees up here for the English peas to climb up. You can see. Let me show you how the my snake beans have just taken off here. These first ones that I've planted, they've all of a sudden started climbing, and this one's wanting to hang off. I'm hoping that it will just continue to wrap itself around. If not, I'm gonna have to train it up again. But it started. See, this is what snake beans tend to do. They start off and they look like this, and you think, you know, well, these things are taking a while, they're not really doing anything, and then it almost seems like overnight they start doing that. Because literally I came out, not this high, but literally I came out and these here all of a sudden were wrapping around. So it's, once they start doing this, then it's off to the races for them. But they're right here, got sunflower, and these I ordered from Mary's Heirloom Seeds. She's got a good seed company. These are Autumn Beauty sunflowers. Actually, I didn't order them. I ordered a bunch of seeds from her and she threw those in. So props to her for that. I have another one here. Looks like it's not gonna survive. Something got to it, or I don't know. Right in here, there's a tomato, and I pulled up the other tomatoes, and that's the one that I left behind. And then in between, right here is another sunflower, and a lot of the sunflowers along here didn't sprout. I think that's either sunflower or that's weeds. But I just kind of planted the sunflowers just because I'd like to get sunflower seeds from them. But I mean, I don't know if the Autumn Beauty makes the ones that you typically eat. But I'm not overly concerned. I just didn't exactly know what to plant in between. So I'm like, well, I'll just throw some of these sunflowers in. So, but I'm hoping this tomato does well. I've got more tomatoes planted in I'll just show you really quick. I'm doing all this talking and I'm not going to have time to hoe, but that's all right. I will hoe later if I need to. But I'll walk over here and show you some of what I've got up here. The chives that I had in my little wicking container, since they're out in the garden now, I had that container open, and it is now, I put some of those yellow pear tomatoes and I've been thinning them. So I just come along and see this one right here doesn't look so good, so I just pull it out, leave it. And I look to see, you know, this one is kind of not growing as tall as the other one, so I pull it. This one's not growing as tall as the other one, so I pull it and leave it. So this one looks like it's getting chewed on, so I'll pull it. But I always just leave the scraps in here. That's just good for the soil. I came in here and along the edges here, and then along in here I cut in some fertilizer. This is just potting soil, so But so I got tomatoes in there. They should grow. I've grown these yellow pear tomatoes in this planter before, and they grew and they produced. So right now it's not really doing its wicking, I mean, I guess it's doing its wicking job, because you're supposed to pour water into that pipe and then it goes down into the basin and then it comes up through the soil. But when we get rain, it came with a cover, but it was cloth, and with our rain and heat and stuff, it's now in the garbage. So because it just got nasty and broke apart and stuff. So look at the tangerine tree is blooming yet again. You can see the fruits coming up here, my Jamaican cherry, which I need to get planted out because it's not happy in this pot anymore. But I'm scared to lose these fruits. It's putting on fruit and it's still blooming. So I want to actually get to taste. I've never tried a Jamaican cherry. I want to actually try it before I put it out and possibly lose the fruit. My lone tangerine, this is the Mame Sapote, that's doing well. There's some more new growth coming out. I really hope that we can get some fruit from that, because it is so delicious. Come over here real quick. In this pot, I planted a calamandan seed because I would like to get a calamandan tree. They grow well here. In these pots I had planted, these little containers, I had planted some moringa seeds, but they haven't done anything. And then over here, in this one, that is yellow dragon fruit that has finally come up. I planted it a while back, and I didn't think it was going to come up, but it has come up. It's struggling to come up a little bit, but we'll see what it does. But that's about it. That's about it for today. Just give you a quick update of what's going on. I don't expect it to be too much longer, and we're going to have blooms on the snake beans. And I'll show you that. If you've never seen them before, they're really pretty. I feel like a lot of beans and peas make yellow flowers, but the snake beans actually make a really pretty purple flower. So once they start, I'll show you that. I really hope that I can get some of the English peas out of here, for my daughter's sake and for mine, because we like to use English peas and things, and I just don't have much luck with them. Let me show you. I don't know if you can see. It's kind of blurry, but there's a little orb weaver building its web. In the you can kind of see it blurry, but going around and around, and that's fine. I like having the little orb weavers come in here, and they'll build their webs in the middle of these. Helps to keep the bugs down. There's a web right there that looks like a really tiny one. You can't see it. But yeah, I'm excited about the pumpkins. They're looking really good. And pretty soon these things will, because they're getting their big leaves in, it won't be long and these things will just be taking off. And I'm going to try to keep them, you've got quite a bit of space in this row, which I've done that on purpose. So I'm going to try to keep them all contained within this row. But I do want them to, I don't want to train them up a trellis. I want them to run on the ground, because every node, it's kind of like nodes along the vine, when it's touching the ground, it will root into the ground, and that can help because one of the nasty garden pests we get are the vine borers, and they come along, and it's a moth, and the moth will come, and at the base of the plant, the moth will bore right into the bottom of the root and lay an egg, and then when the caterpillar hatches, it just eats inside out, and it cuts off basically the circulation from the roots up the stem into the plant, and so the plant dies. But if you let them grow, and it'll come along here, and like we'll say like right there'll be a node that'll send roots down and come along, there'll be another node that'll send roots down, and if you let them do that, they're still able to pull nutrients and stuff up from the soil along those. So that's why I don't train the pumpkins up a trellis, and they get heavy. So, but that's about it for today. Yeah, I don't really have much else going on, so I'm not going to be out here working as much. I'm probably going to come out like every other morning, because I don't really need to. I'm not getting this established. It's established and going now. All I'm doing is maintaining it, so I don't need to be out here every morning. So I will possibly be back on Thursday. If not, I'm not sure when I will come and film again. As things progress, I will make sure to capture it as we get, like I said, blooms and stuff like that. I'll capture it. But that is all. Thanks for watching. Please comment, please subscribe, and follow along and come with me on my journey. And I'll see you next time.